the Core Cast.
Welcome to Shoot the Corecast, the official companion podcast to the RF Generation Shmup Club. This is a family-friendly shmup-themed podcast that proudly names Blue Revolver as our official Shmupper's Choice pick, because when bullets start flying, we don't fear the Reaper. We just wish the game had more cowbell. Hi, I'm Addicted, known as Addicted to Shmups, and with me as always is
MetalFRO, also known as Game Boy Guru. And if you would like to connect with the podcast, you can do so in a number of ways. You can follow us over on X or Twitter at ShootCoreCast. Follow me there directly at Game Boy Guru. You can find us on Blue Sky as well. Look up Shoot the Corecast there. You can find links to any socials or various podcast feeds on our Linktree page. That's linktr.ee/shootthecorecast. And you'll also find a link there to our Discord server. I would highly encourage you to join that, because we do... of course, our monthly playthroughs. We have a lot of good discussion, nice community that we have. And so definitely come and join us and play along with us and so forth. And then also, please like, follow, rate, subscribe, whatever the term is for your podcast platform of choice. Every little bit helps. I always do like to look at the analytics every month and... kind of see where we're at, and it's always nice to know that we're not just podcasting into the void, but that people are paying attention. And then follow me over on Twitch, so you can get notifications of streams, because I do stream the Shmup Club Game of the Month multiple times every month, and that is twitch.tv/Guru Game Boy.
That's the name of your first album right there. For all the cover songs are done. The name of the album is Podcasting into the Void.
There you go. We would like to also introduce a special guest that we have with us today, and that is Birb. Thank you for joining us.
Hey.
Thank you.
My name is Birb. I started playing shmups 2 years ago. I hold all the Blue Revolver world records except XP mode, because nobody wants that world record. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. Much appreciated.
Well, are we going to have a short Blue Revolver segment? Or not Blue Revolver, Rolling Gunner segment?
All I want for Christmas is more time to play Rolling Gunner. No, I ended up just playing... more Duke Souls games. I'm trying to finish up another Crab's Treasure before the end of the year, and I'm getting close, but we'll see. I want to start the new year with a fresh shmup to play. I tried going back and playing Devil Blade and Kaikon, but the problem with those right now is if I turn off VSync, then it goes from like 40 frames per second to 600, and it just gets too fast to turn on VSync, and then the game starts going too slow. So I need to figure out what's going on there, because my rig is definitely overpowered to play those games. So
yeah, maybe you want to use Special K for that.
Well, that's a good idea.
It's gonna limit your FPS.
Right, and what you might also do is, I don't know what GPU you've got, but you can also frame cap your GPU depending on the software for it. I know for my 5070, I can go into the NVIDIA settings and just cap it at 60 frames per second.
Wait, I already capped my GPU by installing Windows 11.
Well, fair point. But yeah, that would be another thing you could try.
Excellent, thank you both. So how about you? Didn't either of you try Rolling Gunner?
Never tried it. It's in my wish list, and honestly, I didn't really know that you guys have like the books club thing, because as far as I know, I posted one of my runs in STGRev, and Game Boy Guru replied to me with his run. I was like, oh, cool. More people playing Blue Revolver. I wonder what's that about. And I lurk around your channel and I see, oh, you have a Discord and there's a whole channel for Blue Revolver. And I lurked around here. I was like, that is very cool. More people are playing Blue Revolver. That warms my heart.
Yeah. Well,
Excellent.
and see, our whole concept that we do here is that essentially we just take a different game every month and we play it, and then we, have our community play it. We talk about it, and then we podcast about it. And I think as we get into discussion, we'll figure out that Blue Revolver is one of those games that we could have dedicated as a year-long focus shot game like we did this year with Rolling Gunner, just because there's quite a bit under the hood, and there's a lot going on with it. But for me, no, I was hoping to get a little bit of time in with Rolling Gunner yesterday and today, but I spent most of yesterday working on getting the outline ready to go for this recording. And then this morning, I ended up getting up later than I planned, and a lot of text messaging back and forth because my new grandson was born yesterday, and so I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I schedule this so that when we're done with recording, I can either go and visit and go see him, or whatever. So
Hey, congratulations.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out where I'm at. So sadly, no more Rolling Gunner for me in the little bit since the last recording.
Yeah. I'd like to also...
Make sure to bring your Xbox.
I just want to add about the Windows 11 thing capping your GPU. I was thinking maybe we could do a shmup OS for Linux, a distro especially for shmups where just less input lag and such. It's just like, it reminds me of what the FGC did, but I haven't seen it progressing. Like there's this thing called FGC OS or something, so maybe maybe you could see something like that in shmups. There's already a shmup meme.
But that would probably only work with games that either have native Linux builds or Steam Deck, like Steam OS approved builds, right?
Just don't know. Maybe Linux users are crazy. They'll find a workaround.
Yeah, I haven't messed with Linux too much in a gaming perspective. I mean, I use it at work sometimes for some applications, but because there's a lot of stuff that's still not natively available on Linux, unless you're using a Steam OS kind of setup like Bazite or something, that there's a lot of stuff you wouldn't be able to play. Tons of, we in our news feed we talk about all sorts of new games on itch.io, and a lot of that stuff, there are Windows only builds, and so unless that stuff performs really well under Wine or some other interface, a lot of that stuff you wouldn't be able to play.
Yep.
It would require some work for sure. Yeah, the biggest problem I ran into was installed Bazite and tried to play Rolling Gunner. You could do everything but shoot, which made it a very difficult game.
Oh yeah. Well, and of course the original release of the game was Windows only, and you had to buy the DVD from Japan to install it, which I did back in 2018, 2019, whatever it was. But yeah, I think it's probably Steam Deck rated now, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's that's going to work outside that context 100%. Always a roll of the dice.
Agreed. Yep. All right, let's roll the dice on into the shmup news of the month. Cataclysm is a free-to-play browser game from Dolgarch 666. This horizontal shooter is available from itch.io and sees you piloting a metalhead on top of a warhead, shooting down punk skulls and various other enemies. This game is just a one-level demo at this point, but it already has an interesting scoring mechanic. The demo is available for download as well.
Yeah, I did take about 5-10 minutes and mess around with this since it was in the browser. And the scoring mechanic thing is what I wanted to mention, because I don't think I've ever seen one that works quite like this. The closest analog I can think of is Raiden Fighter's Jet, where you sort of kite the metal along with you to collect other metals to level it up and get to a higher value. But this, there are certain enemies, when you destroy them, then it drops this bubble. And as you take out additional enemies, there are little items that will then collect within these bubbles and level up the bubbles so that they give you more score. And then when you fill it up, it upgrades to the top level, which changes from a beer mug to this ornate chalice thing. And then that's what gives you the most score. So I thought that was kind of an interesting approach. It's not based on the one level demo, it's not an overly complex game, but I thought that was a unique way to build a scoring system that is not super complex, but is also not something that's been done to death. Of course, I had to talk about this one. Hidden Palace has dropped a prototype build of Thunder Force 4 dated June 15th, 1992, which was just over a month before the final release of the game on July 24th, 1992. In the prototype build, if you press A, B, C, and start at the Sega logo instead of waiting for the attract sequence, there will be additional items in the options screen that were not in the final retail build. Also, if you hold up and start on the controller while booting, you will load directly into a time attack stage within the Dazer area. And if you hold down and start while booting, you load into a time attack stage within the Strike area. That's all the changes that I've seen documented so far. I haven't messed with this yet. I need to download the ROM and throw it on my EverDrive, but this is pretty cool. That Thunder Force 4 could have had sort of hidden time attack modes. So I'd be curious to see if anybody does data mining or if any other differences are found.
Very cool.
This is pretty hard to spell. What is this? Corvette Tunturi under at Quack. Attack. I'll just say attack. It's at Quack. That's a creator name. It's a new NES style Christmas themed shooter available now. It's a name your own prize game from developer M8SI on the dev's itch.io page. You control Santa's sleigh and shoot down space ducks, while also trying to fly low enough to drop presents into chimneys. That is an interesting combination. Shooting down the space ducks. Yes, reminds me of Chicken Invaders, but except for ducks.
Right. Yeah, it looks kind of charming, and so I'm gonna have to check this one out.
I think we found our December 2026 game.
Possibly.
The next game of Track 17 is working on for FPGA systems is Kiki Kai Kai, with the goal to have the game out around and for your entertainment on New Year's Day. Definitely looking forward to this one.
No, yeah. Kiki Kai Kai is cool.
Developer Coffee Pope has recently released a new fork of shmup MAME, specifically targeting improvements in the SH3 CPU emulation to bring greater accuracy to Cave CV1K board-based games. This will mean one less frame of input delay, as well as more accurate slowdown for the games that use this hardware. But it also means improvements for additional games as well. I guess there's some PlayStation 1 based hardware that also relies on the SH3, and so other games that will benefit from this will be Raystorm and Ray Crisis, Brave Blade, which was a late Rising game. I still lament the fact that never got a PlayStation release. G Darius, which of course was the same hardware that Raystorm and Ray Crisis ran on. Cyvariar, Shikigami no Shiro, 12 Stag, Night Raid, Zevius 3DG, Sonic Wings Special, and then also apparently some STV games like Radiant Silvergun, Guardian Force, Cotton 2, and Cotton Boomerang, which should reduce the input lag for all of those games. So that's a pretty cool update, and I don't know how many people are actively using shmup MAME these days, but I suspect there will be more than a few who will download and utilize this new build.
I have actually tried Futari on it. It's pretty good.
Have you already?
Yes, it's much better than Xenia.
Interesting.
The audio is a bit here and there because it's like arcade. You know how it is. But I don't mind it.
Right. Well, and of course, for anyone who owns the game itself, because I bought a copy of Futari several years ago, and the nice thing about Futari is it's region free, and so even though I own a Japanese 360, it works in my North American model just fine. And so that's how I'll play it. But it is good to know that there are other options like this.
New indie shooter Emerald Blue has been updated as of Christmas Day to include Extra Red mode, which adds a second loop to the game. I haven't tried this one yet, but I'll give a hot take. I don't mind second loops. I don't care if the developers do a single loop or a second loop. I like it. It's fine to me. Especially, I think I heard this game is pretty short, so it's fine. Right?
Yeah, I think so. I know More Salty has been grinding on this one, and from what I understand, has the current world record, at least in the base game. I tried an earlier demo just a few weeks ago, but this was an early itch.io demo that had not yet implemented gamepad and joystick controls, so it was still keyboard only, and I struggled to do anything in this game. Watching More Salty's playthrough, I kind of get an idea of how you're supposed to approach it, but man, everything in this game is so fast. It feels like, what would you get if you took the speed of a Psycho game or of something like Danganronpa, but made it more full-on Danmaku? To me, that's what it feels like. And so there's a specific way that I think you're supposed to approach the game, and I would have to figure out how to channel that in order to play this one. But it definitely looks cool. It sounds cool. It just might be slightly outside of my skill level.
Since like you described it like that, I'm getting more interested in the game. Psycho and Danganronpa, but in Danmaku. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm thinking mostly in terms of just the bullet speed, the pace, and how much stuff gets thrown at you. It's a very busy game.
The Steam page for I keep on saying Rizzy, but the Rizzy Nil. The Steam page for RYZY Nil or Rizzy Nil has been updated to reflect the January 1st, 2026 release date. Also, the page has an AI disclosure statement about having used AI images for the title page background.
Yeah. I know there's been a lot of contention lately about AI, and anytime there's an AI disclosure on a Steam listing, there's a segment of people who will go, nope, I'm not touching this. But, I think as long as you're not plagiarizing other people's art within the game, it's not a big deal especially for something like a title background. To me, that feels like pretty mild, I guess. LKK Game, the developer of Ghanablade, G-Warrior, and Red Blue Cells, has posted a new YouTube video showing off footage of a Gradius-inspired game, complete with a full power-up bar, as well as locking options, different option formations, and the same 8-bit style LKK has become known for. The name of the game in development has not yet been decided upon, but a demo can be downloaded from a link in the video description. And holy cow, this looks good. I mean, if this is approaching the same level of quality as the other recent LKK stuff, like Ghanablade, like G-Warrior, and I know, Addicted, you played Red Blue Cells. I have not played that yet, but then, yeah, this is going to be one to watch for.
They're not always made for the serious shmupper in mind, but these have a lot of replay value. They have a nice aesthetic. They're not meant to overly wow people, but they have that retro drawback, sort of like a Crisis Force style look, and it's working well. The soundtrack, although I think I've heard the same Contra sound effects quite a bit, it still seems to work. But overall, I haven't been disappointed from a single of their releases, and especially the fact that they are cheaper than what you get for even a single hamburger here in the States. I mean, at $5, it's really a good value proposition.
Yeah.
I could see that appearing on the page. It's a good value proposition, cheaper than the cheeseburger.
It's gonna be their slogan.
There you go.
Kanzaki Shintaro has 2 new games that just dropped on itch.io. Super Space Strikers, a traditional vertical shmup, as well as Night 6, a rail shooter. Both have a 90s arcade look to them. Super Space Strikers looks like Truxton meets Danmaku visually. Well, I tell you what, I kinda dislike Truxton, but I like Danmaku, so maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the Truxton thing I sort of pulled because what looks like a bomb drop on one of the screenshots on the page is almost like the lightning laser from Truxton, but sort of fanning out in multiple directions. And then there's a screenshot that shows a weapon that almost looks like Grindstormer or V5 when you pull the options in close, and it becomes kind of a proto focus shot type of thing.
Ooh.
But then there's a screenshot that shows just this absolute horde of bullet lines coming at you. Very Danmaku. And so, anyway, Kanzaki Shintaro has done some good stuff, so this is definitely one that I'm going to check out.
Yep.
Sounds good. All right, so let's move on to the main event, Blue Revolver, complete with more cowbell. And with our participants of the month for November 2025, they were DL Wraith, Skosh, Manavia Master Who, Zero Lux, The Orange, Desolus, Corkman 77, and Eat Electric Death.
Alright. So, Blue Revolver, it was developed by Dambo, initially released on Steam October 11th, 2016. The game features art from Woof, aka Woofy Cakes. It was published by Stellar Circle. To date, this is the only game from Stellar Circle. I think they do have a few obscure projects. I'm not sure. I think it's like there's a mecha game that they have, but I'm not sure on that part. Yeah. Yes, maybe you could check their itch.io. I think Someone sent a link for that.
Okay. It was the only
And
one I
main
saw on
character
Steam.
looks
at
very
least.
similar to me, with the red hair and all. And additional art was provided by Comic Z. The game also released on itch.io at the same time, and the initial release soundtrack is from composer Kaijin. What's the what does did Kaijin compose for any other shmup, or I heard like he composed for Gunvein, or is it Exemia? No wonder the soundtrack is a banger.
Oh, I'm pretty sure Exemia did Gunvein.
Yeah. So Kaijin is like composed the original soundtrack, right? That's I prefer the OG soundtrack most of the time. It's like much more calm and all. I can't describe it. I got attached to it. It's pretty cool. And Stage 3 theme is like one of my favorite themes. It's my favorite theme in Blue Revolver. So Blue Revolver began life as a Muchi Muchi Pork clone, but eventually developed into its own original idea. It was also going to be based on Kitsuya at some level. In the end, the game took elements from both games, and this is very true. You can, with Muchi Muchi Pork, you got the lard meter, or the lard weapon. And in Blue Revolver, you got the special weapon. And on Ketsui, it's very hard to make the connection, but it's there. Basically, having the 5 chips and then locking on, and then everything is 5 chip. So in Blue Revolver, you get 8 hits, and then use your special weapon and cashes in. According to the Shmups wiki, both the player ship and all bullets have a 2x2 pixel hit or hurt box. Originally, Double Action Update was planned for a 2019 release, but due to health concerns, development was halted for a time. Double Action finally released on November 14th, 2024. This added another playable character, additional options, and a rebalance of minigame elements. The release adds a 120Hz mode, a new XP mode with a different leveling system, and new weapons, and a mission mode where you can play short focused segments designed to help teach Danmaku fundamentals. I'll tell you what, the mission mode, it's pretty helpful, but also some of them do get really crazy.
The soundtrack to the Double Action update was provided by Exemia and Hagane. It was added during version 1.12, which was prior to the actual Double Action update, so players had access to it early. One interesting detail about the release is the game's code is fully visible by viewing the EXE in the archive editor. It was apparently by design. So let's move on to what everyone comes to shmups for, the story. In this world, magic possesses a technological code-like structure, and proper use of this powerful technology creates a buildup of hazardous junk data. Therefore, specialists called technicians are trained and instructed to monitor and police usage of this technology. One group of technicians has the codename Blue Revolver, and are noted for the use of highly advanced handheld devices that can control complex automated machines. Recently, a data anomaly has been observed in the mountains. This is a work of playable character Mei, a genius-level programmer with low regard for the hazardous material of her own works. The group is sent to investigate, and the true power of Mei's device, MF7 Mapleberry, will now be put to the test. Val and Dee from the Blue Revolver group are also available as playable characters, and their stories are more like Easter eggs or more like what-ifs. So, for the gameplay, Blue Revolver is a Danmaku with a 4-button system. 1 button fires a shot when you tap the button or engage with a focus shot when held down. 1 button provides a rapid shot. 1 button deploys a bomb. And 1 button fires your chosen special attack. Keep reading this in the Count's voice. 1 button. Upon initial release, the game had 2 playable characters with 3 different shot types: power, wide, and follow. This was changed in Double Action, however, giving each character 1 type of shot. Mei's ship has a narrow forward shot known as power shot with good TPS. Options rotate around the ship and provide additional firepower. The ship also has auto-fire for special weapons. These special weapons include the Plasma Lancer, which uses 1.5 ammo units per shot and can fire approximately 13.34 shots per second, getting up there with Takahashi Meijin.
And it's important to note that a lot of the details regarding the shots and the specials and stuff, I pulled directly from the Shmup's wiki page on the game, and so credit where credit is due.
Yeah. I'd say let's not get into specifics because it's gonna be too long. Like, because every weapon has so many specific stuff. So maybe we could summarize. If you want, I can take it on here.
Yes. Oh, sure. Go right ahead.
So the Plasma Lancer is a weapon where Mei fires the Plasma Lancers. They look like lancers, and they have semi-piercing property here and there. Like they shoot the first target and they kind of slow down and then just dissipate. They are kind of inconsistent with their velocity and range, and it can vary the damage. And it has and with double action, each weapon has a new perk system where they have a bonus property. Basically, Plasma Lancer, for example, has a perk where bombs can produce more ammo items, specifically 30% more. Mei's next weapon is the Hyper Laser, which uses a lot of ammo if you just keep holding down the button. And so you have to plan the uses here and there. So it's a tough weapon to learn. It has a warm-up period where it has a point-blank hitbox before it fires off the thick laser. And this point-blank hitbox doesn't really cost ammo. You can just use it whenever you want. It does a lot of damage. It slows down the ship when it's used. And the perk increases Mei's focus shot, which makes it really, really amazing for boss fights. Vortex Barrier is Mei's defensive weapon. It creates a quasi-rotating shield on Mei's ship with up to 13 projectiles spawned at one time, depending upon how you hold the special button. Continuing to hold the special button consumes much more ammo per second when released. These projectiles are hurled forward and can pierce through enemies, and they can block some bullets while they're fired. So yeah, it's a pretty amazing weapon for survival purposes. And also it has a really strong perk in which it gives you an additional life at the start of the run. And finally,
Vortex Barrier was my first clear on normal when I started the game.
There you go. It's pretty straightforward weapon, good for survival. You're gonna score less, but it's fine, you get an additional life, yeah?
Yeah.
And finally, the Cluster Missile, which is categorized as a finesse weapon. And finesse weapons usually have scoring mechanic specific perks that the scoring mechanic, of course the scoring system will be explained later. Cluster Missile means Cluster Missile specifically fires a missile that creates a small area of effect explosion briefly. It uses 4 ammo per volley and can fire really fast. So it doesn't really have missile limits like the later clusters that we're going to talk about. The missile launch from the back of the ship, which can give you some positioning advantage in which you can for practical uses go at the back of the enemy lines and shoot those missiles while being close to them. And the special perk, it basically removes the fall off from the flourish extension, which I'll explain later. It's kind of complex. Next character is Val, which uses a follow shot, and those options are on either side of the ship, which will swing in the direction you're moving. If you press and hold either the if you press and hold the main shot button, The options will stay in the direction they're facing when the rapid button was held, allowing for some angular control over some fire. Val's ship has an emphasis on coverage for special weapons, meaning that fewer shots can cover more of the screen for damage potential. Val's special weapons include the Arc Caster. It's a partial homing weapon that will fire 3 bolts at one time, using 5 ammo units per shot, with up to 3 shots per second for its firing rate. It is kinda imprecise in how it aims, and it's gonna sometimes aim at enemies that you didn't want to shoot, you didn't want to kill. So it does have that inconsistency part to it, just like a Plasma Lancer. And its perk gives an additional bomb inside the bomb carriers, which means that throughout the whole game it gets 4 extra bombs. The next weapon is the Hyper Laser, not to be confused with Maze Laser, because Val has her own laser. It does have a lengthy warm-up period, but it shoots in periods. Like you press the button once and then it takes 12 frames before firing. It is very long-lasting, but thinner than Maze Laser, but doesn't slow down the ship. It also produces small area of effect bonus damage around enemies hit by the blast. Just like Maze Laser, it has Anticipation Bullet during those starter frames, which has a hitbox in front of the ship, and it is used in some niche situations. And the perk is Val's unfocused weapon main shot does 5% more damage. The next weapon, can I even call this a defensive weapon? Stasis Field. Oh god. So you know, this small Takumi game, it's called Mars Matrix. And that's what Stasis Field kinda is. It creates a circular area in front of Val's ship, which slows down the bullets and absorbs their kinetic energy. It is a costly weapon, and then releasing the button sends those enemy bullets back and uses 10 ammo when released. Those energies that you release also pierce, and in the original game it shot out in a 360 degree pattern, but double action changes it, gives it more depth, and it will shoot out the opposite the direction of your last move. Hold on, it's kind of confusing. It sends the energy out on the opposite direction you were moving before releasing the special button. Also, you can change the direction before release, and this allows for a more concentrated effect. The perk of this weapon is that it makes the extends cheaper by 10%. This can also affect all kinds of extends, not only life extends, like parallel mode's bomb extends, in which the parallel mode has 10 million per. It has a bomb extend per 10 million. So Stasis Field gets a bomb extend every 9 million, basically.
Oh, interesting.
Yes,
I did not realize that.
Stasis Field is the best defense. It's not even a defensive weapon. It's everything. It's everything as long as you have ammo.
True.
Another odd property with this weapon, and I don't know if this is an oversight, using this weapon during boss patterns does not negate the perfect bonus, assuming the player does not die or bomb. So every boss pattern has a perfect or a great bonus, where like the better you perform in the boss pattern, the more points you get from the pattern bonus. And Stasis Field, using the weapon during the boss pattern does not penalize you. On to the next weapon, and that is Val's Cluster Missile. Val's Cluster Missile is infamous for being the base game's world record holder by player Kiwi. It used to be really, really strong, and now it has been gutted kind of. You can only fire 2 missiles at a time, and each missile consumes 10 ammo units. The explosion will linger on screen longer and do less damage than maze, but the effect means you can get more use out of each individual missile. The benefit to this special is that the flourish window is a half second longer. So now, there's the added character, the new character, D, and she uses a white shot type, giving her overall screen coverage that other ships more than other ships by default. The focus shot narrows the scope somewhat, though it's still wider than either other craft. These special weapons tend to have high DPS as well. So the first weapon is Fractal Salvo. Fires out a spread of 6 missiles from the front of D's ship that fan out from the central starting position. It uses a hefty 12 ammo per shot, and those missiles on impact create explosions for splash damage, so it has coverage above coverage. And you can use it point blank for shotgunning, but the difference might be small in many cases because of the damage limit. This weapon's perk refills the ammo after each stage clear. And the next weapon is Pierce Lancer. Works similar to Me's Plasma Lancer. Well, not somewhat similar. They both share the Lancer aesthetic. It uses 12 ammo per shot and fires a burst of 6 Lancers. It deals the most damage in the shortest amount of time, making it ideal for survival and against bosses. It also has the perk of giving these main shot 2.5% more damage overall when equipping the special. Well, Game Boy Girl, you want to do the next part? This is your weapon after all.
Yeah, Gunbuckler. Gunbuckler with D, which was my second clear, is a defensive special, and it puts up a small barrier in front of D's ship, and that will absorb enemy bullets and enemy fire, and then essentially use that to charge an attack that fires back at the enemies. And so the more bullets that you absorb during the time when the Gunbuckler is in front of the ship, the better, because it can shoot out quite a flurry of rapid fire bullets. Now, oddly enough, dealing contact damage charges up the weapon's energy, and so if you're running into enemies with it, that's going to help you as well. It does use 20 ammo units per usage, which is very expensive. And also, once the Gunbuckler is deployed, it cannot be canceled. So it's definitely going to be more strategic in some senses. But the perk on this, or the added benefit, is that the increased counter bomb window. Normally it's 3 frames, and this doubles it to about 6 frames, according to what I read in the wiki.
Yes. So basically what the counter bomb is, it's so you play Toho, there's the death bomb thingy where after you die, maybe there's a small window in which you can bomb and cancel your death. That's basically in Blue Revolver, it's called counter bomb. It's a 3-frame window, and Gunbuckler doubles the window to around 6 frames.
Yeah, which obviously between the Gunbuckler's functionality and the counter bomb frame count being doubled really makes it a very good survival and defensive type of ship.
Yep. So the last weapon is a finesse category weapon, which is D's cluster missile. So you notice that every character has a cluster missile variant, and D's cluster missile, it's nearly identical to Val's variant, but it has a glaring difference. Though missiles don't explode upon impact, so you it's not like Val's or Maze where it hits the enemy and explodes. No. After a set distance, they begin to explode, like about 40% of the screen maybe. And if an enemy is in the path of the missile prior to its target distance, it passes through and the enemy takes some damage. It has the same flourish timer benefit as Val's version, so it has like more 0.5 more seconds than for a flourish. So, special weapons are ammo based. Your ammo gauge tops out at 100 units. As you use your special weapon, you'll deplete the ammo gauge at different levels, depending upon the character and or weapon you've selected. Additional ammo pickups can be had from destroying certain ground targets from ammo carriers at different points in the game. Those are the carriers that are orange and with the E letter on them, and or from cancelling bullets with the bomb to generate ammo pickups. Not only does bombing cancel on-screen bullets to create ammo pickups, but using a bomb also gives you a large amount of iframes to give you plenty of time to make use of that invulnerability for subsequent nasty bullet patterns, or to reposition on screen without fear of taking unnecessary hits. Keep note that double action changes bombs to deal more damage at the cost of less iframes. Right?
That's an interesting design choice.
Yes. Yeah, I was surprised by how much less damage the bomb did in the OG game. Because if you have the game, you can right-click, go to the game's properties, and get into the one of the betas. It's 1.12, and you can just go back to OG Blue Revolver. And don't worry, your save data is still retained from double action. So they are like separate save datas. So if you want to go down memory lane, you can just go to the beta and change it.
Interesting.
Yes. Also, in the double action update, there's in the gameplay settings, you can change the rule set of the game from double action to classic, which imitates the OG Blue Revolver's scoring system and somewhat tries to imitate it as much as possible with the extends and flourish system, but it still retains some of the double action elements like the increased bomb damage and the new stage 5 rework, in addition to the new playable character and the weapon reworks.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, whether or not changing to the old rule set would still allow you to use D. So that's kind of a cool feature.
Yep, it is kind of a mix of it's an in between of OG Blue Revolver and double action, and to simulate the OG game much more, Dambo actually increased the main shot damage in the classic rule set, because in the OG game, the follow shots specifically for May and Val did a ton of damage. It was pretty much the optimal way to go.
There are 3 difficulty levels in the game. Normal is the easy difficulty in the game with a lower max rank cap of 2. Less bullets and less aggressive enemies overall. Normal mode also includes an auto-bomb feature if your ship takes a hit. However, this means all bombs in stock are exploded at once. Hyper is equivalent to a standard arcade difficulty with a rank system that increases with gold pickups and scoring and maxes out at rank of 5. Once reaching level 5 or rank 5, rank will decrease on its own for a time, reset to rank 4, and then increase again based upon player actions. There is no auto-bomb in this mode. Rank decreases to some extent upon death, depending upon how many times you died within the stage. Rank drops, decreasing after 3 deaths within the stage. Parallel difficulty maxes out at rank 5 for the most aggressive enemy waves and bullet patterns. Bombs are more plentiful through bomb extends, and 4 bomb restocks upon dying through life extends are fewer. Blue Revolver plays out over 5 stages, each with various mid-bosses and stage end bosses, and the TOB or True Last Boss, only accessible when playing parallel mode. Score-based extends vary depending upon the difficulty level. On normal difficulty, you can extend at 5 million points and every 10 million after that. On Hyper, you get extended 5 million points and every 15 million afterwards. On Parallel, there are 3 score-based extends at 40 million, 80 million, and 120 million points. There's also a single non-score extend you obtain when destroying the battleship on Stage 3. There's no "you sunk my battleship" there? Oh.
Well, and I suspect that part of me wonders if the extend at the end of the battleship on Stage 3 is a Mushi nod to the hidden extend at the end of that battleship bug sequence.
Well, it's kind of like, the cave games where they give you those secret hidden extends through conditions. But Blue Revolver's non-score extend actually doesn't have any condition. You just destroy the battleship. So,
yeah. The interesting thing is that it's a little bit of a twist there, because even though we haven't got into it yet, with the break system in the game, if you do the right sequence for the end of the battleship, then you can get the break. But the 1-up is essentially a freebie for taking out the battleship.
Consider it a Christmas miracle.
Alright, the Double Action update added XP mode to the game. This changes up the game somewhat by forcing the player to learn scoring at some level, as achieving scoring thresholds is how you power up your ship. This mode features D as the only playable character, as well as a selection of 5 different weapons. You want to talk about the weapons again, or should I just keep going?
I'll go about the weapons, because XP mode has some crazy weapons here, and it would be a blast for me to just explain how crazy they are. So, you got 5 weapons, and those 5 weapons, actually, you can unlock them through the unlocks menu, where there's this sort of grid thing. It's very cool. If you have some points from playing a lot, you can just keep unlocking new stuff like gallery, new remixes, and new filters even, including the XP mode weapons. Once you unlock them all, there's only... So, once you unlock the first XP mode weapon, XP mode is going to be unlocked, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. So look at my points, and I have 99,000 points. It's just maxed out. So, because I unlocked everything. So, first weapon is Cascade Blast. Creates a short-range spread of grenades. As they explode, they set off bullets and enemies in the blast radius so that they explode in turn, creating a chain reaction. The conversion of explosion stops 1.5 seconds after firing a volley of grenades. You dump your entire grenade stock in a single blast, but ammo generation has a 2 times multiplier. Wait. Ammo generation has a 2 times multiplier. Oh yeah, because in XP mode, when you use your main shot, it generates your ammo back. And also, everything is basically generates, ammo generates, and bomb also is a single use and then generates back to single use. So there's this gameplay loop where you use your weapon and then you bomb again, and bombing restores your ammo to full, and then you use your weapon again. It's the gold items refund your bomb, and all of that fun stuff. Second item is Volt Cable. Fires a projectile that will adhere to an enemy and is attached to your ship via a cable. The damage inflicted to an enemy increases over time, and the cable itself will also deal damage to enemies that come into contact with it. So the projectile itself can also latch onto the top of the screen. You can fire up to 2 cables at once, but each uses 50 ammo, so you will expend your full stock ammo stock quickly. So if you've ever watched the world record, the legit world record, not the actual world record, which uses an infinite exploit, and the actual world record basically like attaches to the top left corner, attaches to the right left corner. Spider-Man's his way through the stage, just moves left and right and hits everything with the cable. It's funny.
Oh man, that sounds crazy.
Oh, you should watch STG Weekly. I am a guest in there. I provided the replay with that because it was such a crazy replay. I had to show it off. And the world record holder is actually Incognito. I don't know what his actual. I think he had another handle in shmup forums.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the third weapon, and it's such. This weapon is a meme. It's the kinetic orb. We joke about how the kinetic orb is gonna become the best weapon from the worst to the best after 200 years, after people start learning how to play Breakout, and you know the Toho 1 strategies. It's like, so you shoot a large orb that will bounce around the screen, and it's like Arkanoid basically. And you can even bounce the ball with your ship. You can just play tennis with the enemies. And for each enemy destroyed by the ball, its damage output will increase. If the ball reaches the bottom of the screen, its power is lost and it will forfeit. Each volley uses 33 ammo for a maximum of 3 active orbs at one time. It is pretty fun having 3 balls on the screen, just uncalculated angles and such. Every time they hit an enemy, they're gonna bounce back. And if you shoot it at the top of the screen, it will grind on the edge of the screen, creating particles that might slow down your game or something. It's crazy. I do not understand how kinetic orb works. Pretty much. I do not understand how it works.
I didn't see much gameplay of this, but does it do any bullet clearing as it bounces around, or no?
Nope.
Man.
So, basically, I had one ball grinding at the edge of the screen, and then I shot another ball. And guess what? The boss just instantly died. I don't understand it. It's an enigma.
That's crazy.
Please, shmup scientist, explain to me what kinetic orb does and why it's really strong. So the next weapon, the Zap drone, creates a small drone that will zap an area around itself every so often to deal damage. However, colliding with an enemy will cause the drone to self-destruct for only a small damage output. Each drone launch costs 50 ammo units. This one's pretty interesting. Honestly, I used it and it was a blast learning how it works. So you gotta keep distance, and if it bumps into an enemy, it's over. You wasted half of your ammo.
Huh.
Percept Bit, which is the last weapon, creates a pair of lasers that move back and forth, locking onto targets. Once the laser sweep is complete, small guns will fire upon all locked targets. The more locks on a single target, the higher the damage dealt at once. A single usage of this special drains the entire ammo gauge. This reminds me, if you've ever seen how it works, this reminds me of the Crimson Clover lock-on lasers.
Oh,
Gotta
yeah.
see it. It's pretty similar.
Okay, interesting.
You can go
But
ahead
obviously not something that you can just do at will like you can in Crimson Clover because of the ammo dependency.
Yeah, just special open bomb. If you can refund your bomb.
Moving into the graphics real quick, the visual style of Blue Revolver is somewhat unique because it opts for what I would describe as a muted pastel look. And so like last month we looked at Hazelnut Hex, and instead of the really bright purples, pinks, and blues and so forth that you found in that game, what you get in Blue Revolver is much more subtle. It's less bright and less garish. Wolfie's art style is hard to pin down. It channels a Japanese manga and anime style, but it doesn't feel like a copy of that. It's distinct enough to sort of have its own identity. And so the character designs in the game are pretty unique. I have seen some complaints from some players, including some in our Discord when we were going through the game. Concerns about bullet visibility. Now the game does have some options for changing the base palette options. I know I changed the bullet colors from the default to, I think, the red and green option, and there's some other things you can tweak to aid visibility. What was it? There was something I think Mark MSX said about desaturating the background further so that bullets stand out even more, something like that.
Yes, there's background saturation, background brightness. You can customize the colors of the bullets with the RGB, and you can make them glow. You can lots of stuff. You can even make the items, these score items, transparent, which I did.
Oh, interesting. Huh. You're talking about the gold, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
When you collect them, they're going to turn transparent. Same with the player shot, actually. You can make it transparent.
Wow. Okay.
Everything is
so
just
obviously
there.
There's a lot you can do to improve the visibility beyond just how it's set up from, at the default. Okay. One thing, and I guess this is not unique to Blue Revolver. This is probably an issue in a lot of shmups that have more of a mechanical or space kind of theme, is that the enemy designs can sometimes be nondescript, fairly basic, not really anything that's visually interesting or unique or what have you. Although some of the larger enemies have these geometric shape motifs going on, which I think is kind of interesting. But bosses are where you really get into the interesting visual stuff, because they're going to be larger, the sprites are more detailed, and their attacks are a lot more varied as far as bullet patterns and things that they've got going on. And so the boss fights really is where you get the most visual interest in the game.
Yeah. For the enemies, so bosses have ship names and character names. If you're playing May, they're gonna have they're gonna say, "Oh, what you're doing with this ship? I'm gonna take it back," or something like that. They put the ship name under it. So we have names for the boss ships, but the problem is, I feel is that enemies don't really have names. It's pretty hard to say just, "Oh, the blue ship," "Oh, the popcorn enemies," "the blue popcorn." It is kind of, you can manage with that, but I've actually kind of created my own names, which I don't really use much. For example, there's a red-eyed ship in stages 4 and 5, and I call those the Cyclops.
Oh, sure.
Yes, so there are blue Cyclops, white Cyclops, and then there are these small things at the start of stage 3. I call them satellites. They look like a Pokemon, what was it called? Metang? Let me search that up. Metang, Pokemon. Nope, not Metang. The previous evolution. My bad.
Huh.
Yep, Beldum. Look at Beldum. Search up Beldum. That's what it looks like. So I call them satellites. I don't know why.
Okay.
Yep, those enemies in stage 3. You only see them in stage 3. And there's also the unique snake enemies that only appear once. Those were interesting to me, and especially much more interesting in scoring. it's a very infamous part of the game, where it's like, okay, how much score can you get out of it? Because every part, we can chat about all of this later when you get into the scoring. Yep.
Yeah. Shifting to the sound briefly, as with a lot of shmups, there are sound cues for different events within the game. Like one of the ones I found very helpful is there's a little chime that plays when you get the 8-hit counter. Now, of course, you get a visual indicator of that as well. Along the left side of the screen, you'll see your hit counter there. But if you are focusing on the area around your ship and trying to make sure that you're, getting through threats and not taking damage, then the sound cue is going to be very helpful, because then okay, now I can either continue taking out enemies to keep my 8-hit counter going until I'm ready to use my special, or, now I know I can use my special. There are other things like you'll hear a voice that says danger when a mid-boss is approaching, for example, or there'll be a voice clip that'll say break when you get a break event. And so when a game is as visually busy as this one can be, those kinds of sound cues are pretty helpful. But I feel like the sound is somewhat understated otherwise, sound effect wise. The shot sounds are not very prominent. Your special weapon sounds are not super prominent. Explosions are a little bit more understated. They don't quite have that crunch that you would get from a 90s arcade game, for example. But on the flip side, the music in the game is great. I've mostly listened to the double action soundtrack, which I've really enjoyed, but honestly, it's all very good. And so the music in the game is very very enjoyable for me, and I found it very catchy. I mean, when I was setting up for my streams, I would load Blue Revolver, and then it would sit basically at the title screen, or right before the title screen, while I was waiting and setting up, and then while I was starting the stream and playing my own intro music, but I was hearing that theme over and over, and just kind of gets stuck in my head. It's really good. But the one thing I found interesting is on the Blue Revolver website, or Danbo's website, it actually mentions that the game's stages are built around and paced to match the soundtrack rather than the other way around. And I thought that was kind of cool. It reminded me a little bit of, and I'm taking us back to the beginning of the podcast, but it reminded me of Raiden 5 in that way, because Raiden 5, several of the stages, the way that they're paced and the way that things happen within the stages really follow along well to the soundtrack. And I got a very similar vibe here.
Yes, I didn't know Raiden 5 had music syncs. This is actually I'd agree, music sync, it's an important part of the presentation. This is why games like Gun Frontier, or no, not Gun Frontier, Gun Frontier has checkpoints, Darius Gaiden are very, very successful in how they convey the presentation. It's just so beautiful. Any shmup player should experience Darius Gaiden, in my opinion, because the music there has intent, and it's always good to have intent in your presentation. And regarding Blue Revolver Double Action's soundtrack, my friend put it the best way possible. Everybody has to experience the descent in stage 5. That's one of the best parts of the game, presentation-wise.
Oh, yes. Yes. I would agree. That is an incredible set piece in the game. And there's a lot going on in there visually. But yeah, it all really works together very well.
So, on to scoring. And scoring in Blue Revolver is multifaceted. At a glance, it's about getting and maintaining an 8-hit counter and keeping that chain going, and then cashing in on that counter by using your special to destroy enemies so they yield gold. But the system goes deeper than that. So, like the 8-hit chain thing, and then using the weapon to flourish, it's like a give or take. It's a push and pull sort of motion in the scoring system. So you're pushing with an 8-hit chain, and then when you use the weapon, the chain timer turns orange and resets to full. This is when you pull out the gold, plunder the gold. Put it in pirate terms. And with every enemy kill with the special weapon, it extends the flourish slightly, but it can't stay forever. It starts falling off. Gold items, they come in 3 sizes, and which you receive will be based upon the hit counter you're at when an enemy is destroyed with your special. Small gold are worth 200 points, medium gold are worth 2k and 2,000 points, and large gold are worth 20,000 points. You rarely see the small gold items if you're getting 8-hit chains repeatedly. Also, when destroying mid-bosses, you'll receive large gold from the bullet cancels. Same with the boss fights. All the bullets are gonna just turn into gold.
Yep.
And depending on the amount of hits you have before the bullet cancel, you get much more amount of gold, like an increased amount of gold. Basically, you see a ×8 whenever you get a bullet cancel without a hit chain. But if you have an 8-hit chain, you'll see a large ×64 all over the screen when you cancel a bullet. Best example I can give, the second pattern in the first stage boss, where you can hit those capsule grenades and stack up 8 hits, and then and the pattern. So
oh yes.
yeah, yep, that's a very good example. If you don't use your weapon, at least, because if you use your weapon, you're gonna flourish with a small amount of hits. Please do not flourish during that pattern. And so the hit chain, depending on how much hit chain you have, the base value of the enemy is going to be multiplied by a specific number. If you have 1 to 3 hits, you're going to have an 8 times 8 multiplier. 4 to 5 is 16 times multiplier. 6 to 7 is a 32 times multiplier. And finally, the maximum amount of hits, which is 8 hits, give 8 times 64 multiplier. So you always want to flourish with 8 hits for the maximum amount of points. Also, bombing comes into play. This is the rising element of the game, in which you bomb and it resets your hit chain to it resets it to full timer. So you can extend this chain with your bomb if you want to keep it up between large spaces of enemies.
Yeah, I've seen this in some runs, and I even tried this myself a little bit. I wasn't super successful because my timing was probably off, but I've definitely seen this used to keep a chain going so that you can get more out of a group of larger enemies that are spaced out a little bit more.
Yes. It's sort of like I still don't know how battle back rate works, but it is kind of battle back rate because you bomb and the multiplier increases, but of course the multiplier increases from main shots instead in Blue Revolver and bombs. Because if you bomb while you're not in flourish mode, or when the chain's timer, the timer bar is blue. It's basically like the bomb just increases the chain with each enemy it kills. And also bombing has the same effect as flourishing with the special weapon, where it produces gold when it kills enemies. So it's really good for destroying a bunch of enemies for score, and also extending the chain. And even when you're in flourish mode, the chain actually resets when you bomb. So you can extend that flourish if you want to like cash in much more from that specific flourish. You could do that.
Huh.
And using the special weapon activates flourish mode, which I talked about. It's basically when your chain timer turns from blue to orange or red. That's when you know you're in flourish mode. And of course, you kill enemies with the special weapon and converts the enemies into gold. And for some larger foes that offer bullet cancels, also converts their bullets to gold as well. Like, I think there's only one example, which is the stage 5 triangular ship at the start and somewhere after the second mid-boss, which cancels all the gold on the screen. So make sure to have 8 hits for that. It's pretty lucrative.
Huh.
The special weapon is generally best used on larger enemies that will yield more gold. My general tip for players who want to score the game is to go to the gameplay settings and enable the scoring information option. This will show you the enemy base value, so you know which enemies are the most expensive and the most lucrative. But the rule of thumb is small enemies, use your shot. Large enemies, flourish. That's it. Like, this is the basics of basics.
Right, that makes the most sense.
Yep, this is how you make people get into scoring, make them interested. It's such a fun system, and the flourish mode is only designed to be active when a hit chain is achieved, and a hit chain is when you have 2 or more hits in your chain. So 1 hit doesn't count as a chain, and obviously 0 hit doesn't count as a chain. Many of the weapons in this game can work around this by essentially creating their own chain and building to the max amount. This is a very important technique that was at the start an oversight, but was appreciated later by Damble, called a zero flourish. So let's say, for example, you're at 0 or 1 hit chain, but you can't even see your 1 hit chain, so that's fine. And you use your weapon and you use it just once, for example a cluster missile, and this cluster missile is gonna build your chain and also give you gold. So basically you're not going into flourish mode while flourishing at the same time, thus the name zero flourish. And also there's this insta flourish technique, which I added to the shmup wiki, and it is very niche, very specific for 2 weapons. It's not that important to mention much, but it's basically like zero flourishing, but you're instantly getting into flourish mode with 8 hits. That's the best way to describe it, and there's only one situation in which you can do that. And another major factor in scoring is the break system. The best way I could describe the break system is, so you know how in Raiden Fighters you quick kill big ships and it says quick kill, or like or shot in time, or it's like it's similar to that. It gives you bonus points, but it is specific events in the game in which you can handle them in a particular fashion and earn the break, which it will appear in big bold yellow letters at the top and give you a specific amount of points depending on the break. For example, there's the mid-boss in stage 1 where you destroy both side pods within time, and You're gonna see the break. The announcer is gonna tell you, oh, you got the break. And you're gonna get your points, of course. There are much more examples. It doesn't only... it's not only limited to destroying boss parts. It's also expands to, destruction rates and etc. The game also has bonuses, pattern bonuses, which I mentioned before during the stasis field, where if you survive certain bullet patterns without bombing or dying, you get a perfect bonus, which doubles the bonus, the pattern bonus. And the base pattern bonus can range from 100k to 1 million. And if you use a bomb or die once, it's gonna be degraded to a great bonus, which is 1.5 times a multiplier. And if you use your specific weapon or die or bomb twice, it's gonna just give you the base value after clearing it.
Huh.
Also, one more scoring note is that when ammo is full, each additional ammo pickup will be worth 2,000 points. And this comes into play in all game modes, but more so in the normal mode at the end of the game. Also specific to XP mode, all enemies being destroyed by the main shot gives you times 8, while enemies downed by the special will produce times 64. Also, the bullet cancels are always times 64, and there's no chaining or flourish system in this mode.
Like we said before, there's a lot going on with the scoring in this game, and so I feel like it's pretty deep.
All right, let's move on to the thoughts from the Shoot the Corecast player community. DL Ray starts us off with, I had a quick level 1 test with each ship tonight and selected my, watched the tutorials in game and got to work. First try, I got to level 4 boss, 28,885,770. Second try, same again, but improved score to 29,702,220. Initial impressions to this one are that the music is fabulous, but the level 4 wall is going to be one heck of a bleep for me to break. This game is an onslaught. Skill up or shut up, Ray. Get to it. I just don't understand this game, it seems. Every playthrough gets me getting worse at it. I'm at a point now where I'm taking hits on stage 1 normal. I just can't seem to parse the enemy bullets anymore. I think I need to play this on something other than my tiny sliver of a Steam Deck screen, and maybe adjust the legibility options a bit. I want to love this game. It plays smoothly and sounds great. But between the graphical styles, sub-weapon scoring system, unrelenting patterns of the tougher sections, I'm finding that this isn't properly clicking yet. More experience required. Well, that and a bigger screen. Anyone else feel like this has shades of Psycho in it? That sounds like a name of a shmup horror film. Shades of Psycho.
Shades of Psycho.
Point blank in this game infuriates me. I lose bombs so often as a result of taking a hit like that. I know it happens, so I should play less aggressively, but after playing a lot of Devil Blade Reboot earlier this year, it's a tough habit to let go of. Yeah, Devil Blade Reboot definitely makes you play aggressively. I had that problem too after Ketsu. I was trying to point blank everything. It didn't matter what it was, just run up to it.
Yep. And so DL Wraith, actually I was in the new player beginner channel in STG Rev, and someone was having trouble with normal mode, and I'd say the best way to... I actually posted like my own normal mode score run, and I said only look at how I deal with the bosses, because I never really use bombs or anything, and some like rare times I get hit. So it's a really good reference on how to deal with some patterns, especially the level 4 boss, which I know some players had so much trouble with. Same with the stage 3 boss. But stage 3 boss on every rank is mean. But yeah, I'd say take it easy. If you need any tips, hit me up. I'll help you out. I'm always up for some Blue Revolver chatting and teaching. It's fine.
Scoush said, started early for once. Got the normal clear with May after a quick stage 4 game over with Val. I'd got this before a bit back, but I can't really remember the meta. Anyhow, made it through with a lot of early bombing and special shot action, but it didn't beat my previous personal best. I did manage a hyper clear a while back, so may try for that again, depending on SDOJ progress. And spoiler alert, Scoush did get the SDOJ clear. That was pretty cool.
Let's go.
Really enjoyed getting back to this though. It's such a fun blast. Later in the month, Scoush said, got my first Val clear on normal this eve. Went through a few more times with the other ships too, trying to figure out some kind of scoring. I don't fully get how the chain and flourish system works. I get times 8, do the special, but the X64 times 64 seems to disappear in a way I don't understand. Any help on that appreciated. I'm stuck at around 70 mil at the moment.
I think I know what's up. So, Scoush, I'll assume you're using a defensive weapon, and I forgot to mention that. Defensive weapons have like this. They always have the button holding aspect to them, and when you button hold, there's the contact damage where, like, for example, the field does a little bit of damage in the vortex barrier. When the projectiles orbit around the ship, they do damage. Same with the gun buckler, it has contact damage. But one important property is the contact damage does not generate gold. That's a defensive weapon limitations. Remember that. It is, you have to shoot the projectiles, never use the contact damage for scoring. Unless you zero flourish with gun buckler can. Zero flourish with the contact damage to cash in much more. So it's very go watch the world record. It's crazy. The gun buckler world record is crazy. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yes.
Scoush also said, I'm going to try bombing for score a bit more on normal to boost my score somewhat. Don't think I've got time for another grind for hyper before the month is out. I'm stuck at around 70 mil. And then the last post here, I thought I'd give hyper one last blast. Got way further than I thought I would. I managed to clear earlier this year, but I had to go last week and got battered, so I'd assumed I'd lost it. However, after making it to the last boss, the second last pattern, I'm tempted to have a few more runs later now. New hyper mode clear PB of 80 mil too. Bombing did help a ton. The step up from normal isn't too bad once you've got used to the patterns, and D Pierce Lancer is pretty OP, which helped.
Yes, 80 million isn't bad. And of course, if you've played hyper mode, you'll notice that you can only stack up to 5 bombs maximum. So you might as well use the bombs for score or for survival. Gotta be a bit lenient in that. Just don't stack up bombs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Master Who. One of the unlockables in the game is a break gallery that shows how to achieve every break in the game. It definitely gets esoteric at times, like not shooting an enemy until a specific time. I would have never parsed that stuff without the break gallery. You can usually try just breaking boss parts and half the time you'll be on track. Finally understanding how the chaining works, I didn't realize you can keep your hit chain active, capping at 8. And will only lock in start depleting whenever you use the special weapon. The whole game makes so much more sense in that context now. Watching replays where taking intentional deaths in order to refill your bomb's special shot is smart too. There's the rising DNA. Considering the abundant extent, and as far as I know, you don't get any end of game bonus for any unused lives. That is true.
On to the immortal man of Yagagwa. I'll post the video once it encodes, but here's my clear of BRDA. Compared to the original release, this is an absolute winner. Like others had said before, Dumbo pretty much made an M2 shot trigger of his own game. That has to be commended. However, the game is not perfect in my eyes. I'd say the biggest two problems are bullet patterns and overall visibility. Even though the game is presented in tight, or tate, everyone insert your Dave get from GameSack tape mode here. And to me, it feels very tight. Like you don't have a ton of room to judge what the game is throwing at you. This is mostly by design, but I found myself getting extremely frustrated at this game more than any other shmup I played. There are a lot of extremely fast bullets, seemingly impossible patterns thrown into enormous bullet sprites. It feels kind of like BS, honestly. This goes in the next issue, visibility in general. This game has a wonderful art style, but is presented in extremely high contrast. Makes me very hard to tell where the bullets are, also high contrast. I have found many bullet patterns to blend in with the background. This can be solved by truly forward-thinking the legibility menu option, but in my opinion, you should leave it up to the player to fix issues in your game. All that being said, Blue Revolver Double Action does everything else right. Brake system is a great design. However strange and somewhat weird it does get the longer the game goes on. I love the fact that the game expects you to learn how to score to survive, and I wish other shmups would learn from this. As Spider SCG once said, scoring is the highest form of flattering in shmup.
Yes. Scoring. We love scoring.
Mark from Electric Underground suggested desaturating the background, which helped me out a bunch, but after messing with some of the custom bullet colors for a bit, I find the normal bullets work best, which bothers me a lot. I absolutely hate the bullets in this game. It's starting to me thinking it's not the bullet colors, but the actual sprites themselves. They're very screwy, for lack of a better term. I feel like they should lie about their hurt boxes, as your hitbox is absolutely tiny. There should be no reason why I'm taking this kind of hits I am, even with a bullet redirecting in other moves. Sometimes it feels like the bullets are magnetized towards me. Now I can see that cat meme popping up again with the lady pointing her finger. Your hurt boxes aren't what they're supposed to be. I think I might stay away from my 1cc score I submitted earlier. I played the crap out of this game months ago. I feel like it's run its course for me, especially in ever-changing evolution of STG taste. It's a wonderful game, but man, it feels so wonky and cheap sometimes. Out of all the STGs I own and play, this is a game I feel like I come back to the least. I'll revisit Gunbane literally almost every other day, DBR the same, even Angel at Dusk. I feel like this game is almost there for me, but it's missing something. I can't put my finger on it. You can also try taking Bullet Glow off. It sounds like a bad hair product, Bullet Glow. I had to disable that as the way the bullets distort around the screen and make it impossible for me to focus and dodge. Mark goes into detail about this in his BRDA video. He thinks the game is a benchmark of the genre. While I do agree on certain things such as gadgets, the update to the game as a whole, I think the visibility is an enormous issue for this game. My wife and I were just talking about Stage 4. I just see him and his wife sitting down with a cup of coffee. So, dear, what do you think about Stage 4? She thinks that I do love the coffee talk, shmup coffee talk. She thinks that new types of bullets in that staged late game is not great design. I kind of agree. Those Hadouken style bullets are so wonky. Also, the enemy then introduces them pretty much point blanks you. Oh, they ketsui you, which doesn't give you much time to understand the differences between those and normal circle bullets. I don't know if this is even different on higher difficulty, so. As I said, my review and up at the top clear, something about this game makes me frustrated any more than any other STG, and I have no clue why. I think it's a lot of little small things, like the game is amazing, it is truly great, but I find the patterns kind of annoying again. Not necessarily hard, but just kind of annoying. I hate that your hitbox shines white, now saturated and full of contrast everything. It's like finally impossible to see. Unlike any other shmup, when I get frustrated with this one, I don't want to continue. I want to play something else. I hate that feeling. Like when I play Mushi Maniac, I feel like I'm going right back in to get better. With this one, I feel like playing something else when that happens. I think I need Blue Revolver therapy. You know, that is a good shirt right there. I need Blue Revolver therapy.
Yeah. I need Blue Revolver therapy. Dambo did say with every masterpiece there should be a little bit of jank. So I can see his points. Also, I would love for having maybe a fiance where we have shmup chat, or a wife where you have like, by the way, did you finish your your Gun Frontier playthrough?
Right? That's the dream.
Oh, we can play even the Donpachi 2 players, no? We share one bomb. One bomb capacity.
Yeah, DL Wraith has got us all beat there. His wife has enjoyed some of the shmups that we have played over the last year, and some of the comments he has left have been about the games that his wife has played. And so that's DL Wraith is living the dream.
That is awesome. Zero Lux says, "Good afternoon. Starting tonight, I'm joining the fray." Well, welcome, Zero Lux. I have some hours in BR, which is Blue Revolver, but not on 1cc yet. No better time than now to put some more time in, closing out the month with some final thoughts. Without my 1cc, but I did get close. New games pulled me away. I need a little more practice through Stage 4 and Stage 5. I find the Stage 5 boss to be easier than expected. I do agree. Overall, I had put a decent amount of hours into the game prior to this month, and I think it is a high quality product, and it deserves being in conversations about best modern shmups alongside Gunvein, Crimson Clover, and others. It offers pretty cool unlockables and an amazing soundtrack. Exemia is a master, and also did Gunvein. This game has its own look and has a decent difficulty curve, not to mention a good amount of ship and pilot options. This is one of those games that I'll play for a long, long time to come. Happily.
Very nice.
Even your world record holder here thinks so, because like every now and then I'm like trying on my just try hard in Kitsune, like, you know what, I feel like I need to play some Blue Revolver and put in a few credits, because it's that fun. It's so fun. Even if I'm not going for scoring, just messing around, you know.
Right. Okay, the Orange, who was a new member to the Discord, welcome to the Orange, said,
Welcome.
Anyway, came to check out the Discord because I've been into shmups for the last year or so, and I keep hearing about the community aspect of these games, and the focus shot thing is a nice idea, I think. Coincidentally, I already got into Blue Revolver a bit last month, got a normal 1cc about 70 mil, didn't clear the higher difficulties, and then kind of veered off to other games in my usual Charlie Brown-esque manner. Now maybe looking to get more into the game again, maybe get a real big boy clear and share some thoughts. Later on, how's everybody doing? I did some hyper mode runs, but couldn't manage a clear yet. Mostly it's down to boss 3 whittling away most of my extends, and then boss 4 ending me. But I did manage another clear on normal, this time with May and Hyper Laser, ending up just around 200,000 shy of my previous record. I uploaded the run too, just because I frickin' no-missed the 4th boss. Such sweet retribution I had. About the scoring, the special is very high commitment in that whenever you press the special button, even just a little bit, it locks you into the current multiplier for the duration of one single multiplier time bar, so you only have that time window to utilize the scoring multiplier after committing to the special. This may be useful to note. Rank is a different kind of beast in hyper mode. Any kind of scoring raises it pretty dramatically, while dying, halves it. Also, bombing doesn't lower it, rather it seems to increase it? via scoring probably. Garegga-style tactical extend sacrifice strats might be a thing? Or is the high rank even supposed to feel that hard? Am I just kind of bad at the game? And the Orange also said, I tried Parallel a couple of times. There it's game over for me at the end of level 2 at the very latest. Hitting a major wall on hyper mode practice, but cranked out another normal clear with Val, so now I at least got normal clears with all the gals. This run was nuts. Went into stage 4 with like 6 lives, and then at some point chain died at least 3 of them. Did the last 2 attacks of the final boss with no bombs or ammo, and feeling my left hand going numb and my heartbeat going nuts. Literally got it by the skin of my teeth. Oh, and yeah, I was on my last life at the end, forgot to mention, but maybe that was self-evident. If I had died there on the last attack, I probably wouldn't have had the mental fortitude to try another run for a while. I get that.
Yes.
Those clutch wins are always fun.
Yes, the final boss is a... What do you call it? The final boss is mean, because the final boss has a... On hyper mode and parallel mode, she has a 6 seconds, 7 seconds bomb shield. It's pretty harsh. It's very, very harsh.
Later on again, tried a hyper run with D and Pierce Lancer with a couple of days hiatus. Managed to hit around 52 mil and reached stage 5. Died my last life to the most basic streamable pattern. I blame nerves. First time in November hitting plus 50 mil. Personal best is still 55 mil from last month. Also, stage 4 stage and boss practice. The 4th boss really punishes you for not dying to it. The penultimate attack feels insane on rank 5. Yes.
Oh god, you poor soul.
Also, sometimes I feel that when I've trained for that boss specifically and feel confident facing it, the stage itself gives me more trouble. Always something. Game was kicking my butt, and I decided to switch to 120 Hz refresh rate and did a 7 mil PB and got to the final boss too for the first time on Hyper. Might have been a psychological edge, but I do notice that on my analog stick, the movement feels more precise on 120 Hz. We were having some discussion on Hyper difficulty in the Discord, and in response to something I said, the Orange said, yeah, same here. Getting to stage 5 consistently though. It's just down to practice and getting a good run. This is by no means a short home stretch, as the final boss doesn't give ammo and bomb, and gets iframes from bombing. So either you just bring a good amount of resources to the fight, or just get nerves and dodging skills made out of steel. But I'm also not done with this, gonna keep at it. The month really inspired me to push myself, and I did get a whole lot better at the game. Thanks guys!
The Orange, you had a long journey, even though it was just a month, through Blue Revolver. She got luck with the hyper clear.
Desolus says, I'm a few days into quietly practicing Hyper now, using May with Hyper Laser mostly. For the bulk of it, I'm really enjoying this one.
Yes.
The pacing and difficulty for this mode have felt just right to me. I find myself being a lot more aware of rank within this game, much more so than anything I tackled previously. I think the general shift in the enemy bullet patterns make it pretty clear when you go up a level. Scoring holds my attention with this one too. I like how well integrated the general survival it is in regards to pushing for extend. Swooping in to slurp up that wall of shimmering gold really gets the dopamine going. That's another phrase I can't see with this pocket. Swooping in to slurp up a wall of shimmering gold. That could get you in trouble in some states. Alright, I agree with some of the discussion around the bullet visibility. The blue bullets in particular have a fondness of sniping me, my most egotistical. I've dabbled with some of the coloring options, but they feel like worse or equivalent options to me so far. Also, I could leave this game off in the background all day and just listen to music. I had one point where I was playing the other night where I hit rank 5 and it slowly just decayed from there all the way down to rank 4. I wasn't sure if maybe I wasn't scoring well enough to increase at that point. Found this on the Shmups wiki. Hyper Mode, Rank Drain. There's additional rank mechanic available only on Hyper Mode. At rank level 5, the rank variable is immediately set to high value and drains passively over time. Scoring actions per frame ranking, including special weapon rank, increase do not apply at this point. Passive rank is per frame and is increased as the player loses lives. Once the rank is drained back down to the rank 5 breakpoint, the rank is reset to level 4. Therefore, high-performing Hyper Mode players will see a constant seesaw between rank levels 4 and 5.
Oh, yeah. Just wanted to say that this seesaw between rank levels 4 and 5 is most common with stage 5, because you just keep suiciding constantly to restock on bombs. Can go ahead, sorry.
No worries. There are more stats about the drain rate here, depending on lives as well, if I'm remembering correctly. Something about this one just wasn't going to let me put it down until I got what I came for. Here's a May Hyper 1cc. Alright, GG. Really enjoyed this game.
Let's go.
I had a good time determining how I'm going to manage my rank while routing my way through. I know that's not really a groundbreaking feature, but for some reason, the way it's presented here clicked with me. Whether I take a break here now, I think I'll be listening to the soundtrack for a while to come.
You know what's confusing? This user's name is Decilis, okay? And as far as I know, they got May Hyper Laser Hyper 1cc, which is, by the way, Hyper Laser. May Hyper Laser is my favorite weapon, despite me using Cluster Missile most of the time, because Cluster Missile is better. But yeah. So Decilis, there is another user in STGRF called Dislow, who came in and cleared parallel mode. I thought they were the same person, but I was wrong. Shouted me out in the description for my parallel 1cc guide. But yeah, congrats to Decilis, and got an 86 million points with May Hyper Laser. Maybe you want to push that score a bit more to get the second medal with 90 million. That'd be swell.
Nice.
Corkman_77 says, gotta say, this game has it all. Between the graphics, music, amount of ship options, online leaderboards, unlockable options features, and of course, the tight gameplay. This is for everyone as long as you're playing on PC. That's only negative I see so far. The limited platform options to play it. Having a good time with it so far. I guess I'll try for a normal clear with a defensive ship first, then try to understand the scoring better. Yep, good luck with that.
Eat Electric Death said, Ben, only able to devote a couple hours to the game this month and probably won't have any more time for it, which is a shame. Because that's enough to tell that Blue Revolver is incredibly good and has a ton of depth and content to it. Could easily have been a pick for a focus shot some year. And yeah, that thought occurred to me more than once, that there's enough meat on the bone with this game that we probably could have made it a full year-long experience. And so yeah, there's definitely more than meets the eye.
Raul says, I started thinking I'd go for a quick session, just get acquainted with the mechanics, and here I'm 1 hour, we're like dancing goth girl. All right. Only made it to stage 4, playing on normal. One thing I'm very surprised with is the music and the screen transitions art. They both have very early 2000s vibe I can't get enough of. I 100% agree with ZeroLex thoughts on it. It's going to be in my library for a while. The unlockable stuff is pretty nice incentive to keep coming back to. I love the art style outside of gameplay and the screen transitions. Again, it reminds me of a whole lot of Third Strike for some reason, both in its deep mechanics and art vibes. One major flaw for my taste is how generic the enemy design is. It feels like every hostile is a flying geometric shape, some random sprites thrown on top. Well, just for you, we'll throw in Geometry Wars this year so you can really have geometric shapes, which is a shame because everything else has so much attitude and style.
Alright. You can see the scores here. the high scores for the participants. So we got on normal difficulty, on normal mode, Man of Yagagwa, 78.9 million with May Hyper Laser. Master Who with 75.6 million, no shot type stated. The Orange with 70.6 million with May Laser. Oh wow, so many May lasers, let's go. Skosh with 70.5 million, D Lancer. MetalFRO, aka Game Boy Guru, 62.7 million with Gunbuckler. And Raul with 28.2 million, no shot type stated. Hyper, in hyper mode, the named boss, in caps, scored 117.6 million with May Lancer. Epic. May Lancer is interesting. It's kind of weak in damage, but it's still decent weapon to use. It's a jack of all trades but a master of none, is the best way I can describe it. It is just kind of consistent here and there, but yeah. Desolus, 86.8 million with May Laser. Scouch with 80.01 million with D Lancer. MetalFRO with 78.2 million in D Lancer question mark. Wait, did he use D Lancer or Hyper?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was what I used. I wasn't 100% sure, but I think that's what I was focusing on.
There's also another score by Desolus, 62.4 million with May Laser. And the Orange with 62.3 million with D Lancer. See, D Lancer is it's a cult classic for to clear hyper mode because it does a lot of damage. You don't want to deal with the fast BS patterns. So yeah.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts?
Yeah, this is a game that has been on my backlog for a long time. And having watched a few runs and seen some performance during Shmup Slam events and things like that, I was a little bit nervous going into the month. And when I started playing immediately, I thought, oh boy, I'm going to struggle with this game. But then, of course, I did the Vortex Barrier clear very quickly. And that was a nice win because it showed me, okay, yeah, I'm using a defensive weapon and it's much more suited for a quick clear. But even so, it felt good to get that within the first few days. And then I followed that up with a Gunbuckler clear and again, defensive weapon, but I increased my score a fair bit. And so it was gratifying to know that I was also learning during that time, and I wasn't just kind of walking through it. I didn't get my hyper clear. I got close a couple of times, but I didn't quite get that hyper clear.
Yeah.
But I feel like without too much more effort, I could probably do that. Now, of course, having not played the game since the end of November, and now we're at the end of December, I feel like I would probably have to go back and rebuild a little bit of that muscle memory again. But I do think that I probably want to keep plugging away at this game, if only to make sure that I can secure that hyper mode clear, so that I can have that on my list, because I came so close that I feel like I need to achieve it. But this is a game that kind of surprised me in some ways, and definitely one that I want to put more time in, and I do want to try XP mode at some point because it sounds bonkers, and definitely something that I want to experience. And so I'm glad that we finally played it, because this had been on our list several times over the years as a potential game of the month. And then it always got bumped for something else, either because something else is coming out and we want to do this because it's timely, or we had a request from a community member or something along those lines. And so I'm glad that we finally got it in the schedule and played it, because this really is a very, very good game that I feel like, similar to what we've said with Gunvein or Crimson Clover, it's a modern game that has all the design hallmarks that you want, and it is well worth exploring.
I agree. And increasing your score with the defensive weapon is no easy feat, because those weapons, to be blatant, suck for scoring, except for status field. Good luck with your hyper clear, and keep it up with the D-Lancer. So, what about you, Addicted?
As for me, this is a game that I have been playing even before the expansion, on and off for a couple years, and trying to get the feel. It's certainly it has a different feel than most games. Mark MSX talked about recently where ever since Vampire Survivors came out, the word bullet term has sort of been, or bullet hell Danmaku, sort of been, well, probably not Danmaku as much as just bullet hell itself, has come on a different meaning, right? It's sort of been hijacked on with that meta progression where it's no longer about how you play, it's about how long you play. And he gave example of a Rubik's Cube as something that looks intimidating, but as long as you keep messing with it, you can solve it, right? It values the time that you put in, not so much of the skill of the player. And to me, this is a game that rewards the skill of a player more so than it does any type of progress or unlocking progress bars that you, with the meta or the level up within the game itself. It's something that also is deeper than what you normally get with your standard indie game, where you have the ABC, right? You have the quick fire, and then you have your hold down to focus, and then you have your dedicated button for dealing with rapid fire, right? That's what you would normally get within, let's say, something like Mushi or some of the Espeleta 2 was a little bit some, but Espeleta 2 mixed up with the way that you're scoring with dealing with the I don't want to say bullet break, I can't remember the exact name. I know it's pretty hard for me to say at least, but it's got more mechanic than just dealing with get your bullets out by tapping, get your bullets out by holding, get your slow-mo activated by focusing. There's more depth to this, right? And so it's repeated playthroughs, and it gets you to try different stuff with the different weapon types. And the best part about it is it's balanced enough where those weapon types can be viable. Not everyone's going to go, oh yeah, just forget this and go with this weapon, because that's where you're really going to make it work. And so, yes. It is sort of like an onion, as people like to say. It's got many layers, and each one of them make me cry. But it definitely it definitely does a good job. It does have some issues with it. Yes, there are some problems with the visibility. It's certainly not as pronounced as some of the games. We remember Ghostblade, pink bullets upon pink backgrounds. But that not saying anything about Ghostblade, because think Battle Garega, right? Battle Garega had horrible bullet visibility when it first started. So it can happen to anybody. I think, to its credit, it's a very well-balanced game, and for the most part, everything works. You can deep dive if you want to. If you don't, you can still have a good time. It's not as easy to pick up and play as you would normally get. It is definitely more involved. But you're not going to spend years just routing and then die due to pixel perfect dodge that you missed, and then your whole run is over, right? We're not at the shmup Olympics level. We're not routing Ketsui or DDP, right? This is not. It's not where we're hardcore of hardcore. This is somewhere in the middle, And there aren't a lot of shmups that are somewhere in the middle where you can get a deep dive, but you can also have fun at a skin deep level. So again, it's something I keep coming back to. It's not perfect, but it is very well suited for people who want something more than just playing either a dad shmup or playing some early Danmaku. This is something that will get you some more depth out of it and something you can sink your teeth into. And at the price it regularly goes on sale for, about $7.49, it's definitely worth it. There's stuff that I could see people taking from and going again in that direction. I think it's a lot more in the M2 direction as far as deal with the gauges and helping the player underscore the systems. Doesn't always succeed, but it certainly does a lot more than other stuff. I've seen, as Mark calls them, the gutters aren't really used well in a lot of modern shmups. I think God and Blade had some semi-useful stuff on there, but for the most part, people just keep them blank when they could be filled with a lot more information for players, assuming that the SCG itself, or the shmup itself, has that level of depth. Again, I think this falls in the middle tier of where it's not in the you have to be really, really, really dedicated like a DDP cave shmup, but it's not the surface level and it's not chasing trends either. It's its own thing, and it has enough meat to keep people going. So I definitely highly recommend it, but I don't see it as an entry point in shmups. This is for people who have been working for or playing for shmups and know what they want to get into. Could it get some people to get into shmups? Absolutely. But it's like going to trying to just do a deep dive or a cold dive in there, which is hard to do. If you want to get people into shmups, do a quick glance. Toho is great for that, and people in some ways you could say the meta game with Vampire Survivors is, even though that formula sort of you get disgusted, people look on the outside like, what the heck are they new into this, but it certainly is something that will keep people engaged for a while, just like Gunvein there, and to a lesser extent Soulstar. I think all these games have staying power without requiring you to spend years of route memorization. So it's not right. It's not quite miniature golf like you get with the Vampire Survivor or some of the earlier pick up and play, but it's got enough meat on it that you're playing it. So maybe you're playing regular golf, right, where you're playing your 9 or 18, 19 holes, but it's not professional or PGA, which you have everybody on the other end playing DDP, DOJ, the shmups that start with D. So it's something in between, which there really aren't a lot of. Right, there's maybe only a handful that I could think of, and most of them are indie.
It's what he said about like this not being DDP or like not being pick and play, being in between that, I fully agree with, because honestly the way I would describe it as it's very organic. That's the best way I could describe it. So the way I learned the game, it's I just play trial and error. Sometimes trial and error, sometimes just ignore it and make up my own strategies and such. I would compare it to Battle Garega in such a way that the more you play Battle Garega, the more better you play. It's like I've never save stated Battle Garega, got really far into it, still didn't clear it quite yet, but yeah, I'm close. For Blue Revolver, the normal mode, especially, this is the mode that I started scoring first. You'd get into it, the first 4 stages, let's say they're the kind of stage 1 kind of introduces you to the game and how it works with the Zakos, like the popcorn, the yellow popcorn news, just don't shoot. And stage 2 ups the ante, and then stage 3 is like the precision, one of the harder stages. Stage 4 has like RNG, and stage 5 is just pure bliss when it comes to scoring. It's such an addicting gameplay loop if you ever score it, because basically you get an 8-hit chain, you score and then bomb, and then score and then bomb, and then suicide, and you keep doing that over and over and over, and you don't really need to be so precise about it. Just keep scoring mindlessly, and then even when you're scoring mindlessly, you're gonna get around like 100 million, 70 million, 80 million, around that range. But then you want to go further and beyond, and you start scoring much higher by being more precise. And when I mean mindlessly scoring, I don't mean like skill, like without any skill. No, there is skill to it. Like this game, just like Battle Garega, encourages a lot of improvising and at the moment decision making. This is the best way like I could describe it, because like you don't know what's gonna happen to you. Like you're gonna continue on, you're gonna maybe like you don't plan to die in stage 4 boss, and it's like, okay, I have low resources, I'm gonna do this and that, and this is the best part of this game. It's so good. It just keeps me hooked in this game. And it keeps the game fresh to me, no matter how many times I play it again and again. And of course, the variety of shot types and weapons just keeps it fresh. It helps a lot. Yeah, I keep telling myself, after raising the score more and more and increasing the limit and capabilities of the game in terms of world records, keep telling myself, okay, this is it. And then I just find a way to increase that score by 5 million, maybe out of nowhere. And yeah, this is how I just keep coming back to it. Of course, the presentation, I adore it, but I'd say the sound effects, I agree that they're lackluster. I think the only thing that is satisfying for me is some of the special weapons and May's main shot having like really satisfying sound effect if you raise the SFX volume a bit. As for the other shot types, they're just kinda weak for me in terms of the sound effects.
Yeah, this is one of those cases where the weaker sound effects don't really bother me so much, because I feel like that allows the gameplay or the gameplay to be more of a focus, and then also the music, which is really good. So for me, it's less of an issue in that regard.
I'd say it's like you're shooting with your weapon, there's no feedback at all, there's no sound, and then the moment you start flourishing, you hear kablam, and the sound is so loud, and it's like so satisfying, especially if you get 8 hits and then flourish. You're gonna hear the gold spawning, and that is super satisfying. Always like I always encourage like satisfying scoring systems, and Blue Revolver does that perfectly. I can see Addicted's point in Blue Revolver not being really an entry point for shmups. I actually like think it's an amazing and outstanding entry point, because it's made by someone who understands what makes a shmup so great. The survival, the scoring system, the jank, and all of that nice stuff.
Yeah, I think maybe normal mode is a fairly good way to get into the game because it's not so punishing that you can't learn the bullet patterns and things like that. There are definitely a couple of spots that are a little bit more rough, like in the spread patterns on the stage 3 boss. You know, that's kind of a learn how to bomb moment, but yeah, realistically, I think it's a pretty pretty approachable game for a Danmaku, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I just want to add here, I do think that, again, I'm not saying that someone can't, it's just, if you were to weigh it against something like Devil Engine, or were to weigh it against something like Devil Blade, those shmups don't have the depth of gameplay, but they are very quick at drawing people in and getting to the action. So if you're trying to get somebody interested in shmups, that type of gameplay or hook would work on most people the best, or have the greatest chance of success. And that's why with a lot of stuff in regards to Toho, people are drawn in by the music, and then they're drawn by the pretty explosions and maybe the frilly dresses. I don't know. But with the immediate pull and grab, that arcade, you know, people who grew up in the 90s, in the 80s and the 90s, probably still remember hearing Hadouken as they walk in the arcade, or that for certain people, they remember that Nam 1975 scream across the arcade. You know, those type of memory and that type of attention grabness or eyeball grabness is what will get somebody to pay attention and go into a shmup. And that's the type of thing that I see as needed for pulling in new players. Now, maybe I'm wrong upon this, but Blue Revolver doesn't have that level of flashiness, nor does it probably need to. But it makes it harder to grab those eyeballs and grab everyone's attention off of either YouTube, doom scrolling, TikTok, whatever they're doing, and get them to pay attention and play the game.
Yeah, I can see your point now much clearer. Thanks for
no
the
problem.
clarification.
Again, I am just speaking from my opinion. Like, what can we do to get people into game? You want to get somebody into a game, you need to get their eyeballs focused and them trying. And once they're hooked, then you could, because I feel like a bad marketing, say, more ha 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 ha. Yeah, see. So I can never do a maniacal laugh, but that's where we're going. So let's talk about what's coming next. In January 2026, as we're all recovering from too much Tex-Mexium and eggnog, we're going to play some Gates of Zendikron and Zarlar Mercenary, which both sound like B-tier Sean Connery films. In 2026, we are going to be trying our hand at playing Dodonpachi Daifukasu, or DP Res, all year round. Which is much better.
Yeah, and we've already...
I was going to say, which is much better than the initial idea we had of playing Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You all year round.
No. Yeah, there's already been several people in the Discord who got a head start and have done novice clears, and even a couple of people who have done novice 2-all. So that's pretty encouraging that hopefully we'll have some good response for this game next year.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. So I'd like to also shout out to Etrem for the logo. Everyone, the special podcast shirts, which I'm sure the I Need Blue Revolver Therapy will be added to the list. Kogusu for the intro and outro music. MetalFRO for streaming the game of the month, and also like to thank our special guest for joining us here.
Thank you for having me in this podcast, and you can find me on Discord or YouTube at Tori Birb, where I play shmups, talk shmups, and Blue Revolver, of course. Do other things too. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to shout out?
I'd like to shout out Van Arctic for the knowledge I learned from his replays and such. Same with Maros, same with the Jamers, all the players that actually loved the game, scored it high, and encouraged other people to play. And like to shout out Dambo for making an awesome game. I'd like to thank you both for having me in this podcast again. I love talking about this game. It's probably my favorite shmup. And yeah, that's it.
Very good. Okay. Well, I think with that, we will close out this episode and officially close out 2025, since we are literally less than 48 hours from the end of the year. And so thank you all for listening throughout 2025, and we will catch you next episode and next year.
See ya.